Hello, good day, everyone. My name is Patty Spada. Herb and I are excited to be here with you. We are out in the desert of Scottsdale, Arizona. Excited to be here with you tonight and excited to bring to you our guest speaker tonight, who is an amazing wealth of knowledge. And of course, he's also done some incredible things. I mean, how often is it that you get the opportunity to meet somebody that has a business that did over $1 billion, right? It's odd. And this person, Tony, has done it not once and not twice, but three times in less than a 3 year time frame in three different industries. So brace yourself, get your pen and piece of paper, take some notes. Excited that you can be here and we want to welcome you. I want to always start by saying it's a great idea to come up. First of all, I applaud that you are here, but it's a great idea to come with an open mind and understand that what you're about to hear about is different. It's something that's a technology that most people are unfamiliar with. They don't have any clue of how it works. And when you are introduced to something that's not something we're familiar with, it can really kind of stop you up for a minute or put the brakes on or even make you say, oh, forget it. I don't know what they're talking about. But I would say to you that it would be wise for you to really look into this. And I'll tell you why. Can you imagine if we, with knowing what we know about what happened with the internet that we're on right here today, but back in the day, before this became what it is today, I don't know if you all remember the floppy disk by AOL and the whole beginnings of the internet, and how, I don't know about you, I had my heels dug into it. And I'll tell you though, the more I started to look into it and started to realize everyone is using this. And of course, now look at what has happened with the internet. But can you imagine if you were given the opportunity to not only have known about it, we all ended up running into it and finding out about it, but what if you were given the opportunity to not only know about it, but to take advantage of it and to monetize it for yourself and your family? Imagine that. Knowing hindsight being 2020, right? We're like the money morning quarterbacks here. And now we have fast forward blockchain technology, which is becoming a buzzword. And we're working right now in blockchain technology, which again, like the internet, there needs to be a little bit of an education. And of course, what's easy now for you will become difficult later. And what's difficult now will become easy. So you're in front of the pack. You're actually probably, in my opinion, in the top 90% of people. When you're finished listening to tonight's overview, you'll know more about blockchain technology, I believe, than 90% of the population on the planet. And what's exciting is we want to focus tonight. We have a technology and blockchain. What is it? We have Tony with us tonight. I'm going to introduce. And of course, not only what is it, but what is this project that we're focused on right here? So with that, I don't know if Tony's on. I don't see him, but he
I'm
is
here.
somebody, like I was saying earlier, who has
Can you hear
taken
me?
Yep,
out what
he's
is
here. I hear him. He's here. He's talking. Just go through your
say
screen.
again?
So, Tony, I'm going to take it over from here and give you an introduction.
Oh, go
All
ahead.
right.
I
You
can.
do your phone.
All
You
right.
do your thing. So, everybody, you're about to hear from one of the people who we consider a very prominent, educated, successful, um, understanding of an industry type of person. And when you listen to him, I'm going to encourage you to listen to him very, very carefully, because you're not here to hear about a company. You're not here to hear about a network marketing organization or anything like that. You're not even here to hear about really a company at all, but rather more so a technology. And there's nobody else that can bring it to you like Tony can bring it to you. Now, Tony is not new to the business space. Let's put it that way. He has successfully created not just a company that has done $1 billion in revenue in the last 36 months or in a 36-month time frame, but three companies that have done that. And so when somebody has accomplished something of that nature, Patty and I will step aside and listen to how they function and how they think and how they operate. And Tony, I got to tell you something. It's been a privilege to be in the midst of your thought processes, even scattered, because we pick up a lot on it. So with that, everybody, here's Tony Swantek, somebody who we admire tremendously. but somebody who I think is going to shed some light on some information that you may want to have. So, Tony?
Right on, Herb. You hear me okay?
Fantastic.
Good deal. Well, definitely want to share a little bit about, kind of what we're working on this project for those of you that are maybe brand new and kind of seeing this information for the first time. And I'm always happy to connect with Herb, Patty, and many other leaders that hop onto these video conferencing, opportunities. At the end of the day, I always I think being an entrepreneur, I always tell people timing and positioning is so important. Many of my mentors always talk to me about, being at the right place at the right time, realizing you're there. And then probably the most important thing is taking massive and immediate action. And I think for me, God has certainly, I think blessed me with many different opportunities over the years, and certainly blessed me with some skill sets to be able to take advantage of those opportunities when they come my way. But every now and again, something comes across your plate that I think kind of levels you up a little bit and opens you up to a different way of thinking, a different way of believing. Of what's really possible. And I always tell people, as an entrepreneur, I've spent most of my career, not so much as a disruptor, but just kind of niching my little area out in a different industry here or there. When I got into restaurant delivery, a company called My Town To Go, you can Google it, My Town, the number 2 Go. We were an Inc. 500 company back in 2020. And we started that business in 2016. And we definitely did not want to compete with, Uber Eats and DoorDash and those companies. We wanted to sell out to them. We wanted to build a big enough business that they would want to buy. And so instead of trying to disrupt that industry, really, we just went into cities they weren't. We went into Wichita, Kansas. We went into Des Moines, Iowa, Ventura County, California. They were in LA. They were in San Francisco. They weren't up in Ventura County. So we're like, all right, let's go where they're not, build up the business. And then when we get enough of them, they might want to buy us. And a couple of years later, we were in 300 cities, doing $30 million a year in revenue. And it was a decent sized business. But the goal always was to exit. Like, I did not want to compete. At that time in 2016, Uber was like a $40 billion company, maybe 60 billion. Now they're, I think, 160 billion market cap or something crazy like that. DoorDash was around 40 billion, and they're bigger than that now. So we just wanted to sell out to those guys. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's probably typical for most entrepreneurs. Very seldomly do you have disruption in an industry. And one of my mentors talked about how to disrupt industries. I've had several mentors, but I have two mentors that are worth several $1 billion. And one of them that talked to me about disrupting industries, he said, you really look for 3 different things. And almost always a disruption is created when at least 2 of the 3 things are disrupted. And what he meant by that, I'll give you an example. So number 1 is price. So you can disrupt an industry based on price. If you can give the same or better product or the same or better service at a much better price point, you've got a shot to disrupt an industry. Number 2 is convenience. If you've just made it much, much easier to get something, it might be more expensive. Certainly there's times where I've gone into Walgreens and grabbed some milk or whatever, which it would have been way cheaper to go to the grocery store, but I was already in Walgreens. The wife messaged me that we're out of milk, and it's like, it's convenient. So again, convenience stores disrupted an industry, and we're able to disrupt the retail space to an extent. That's just making things more convenient. Third would be technology. You can certainly disrupt an industry based on technology. And so the question becomes, how many of those 3 boxes can you check off? If you look at Walmart is a good example of disrupting kind of downtown USA, the retail space, they really hit price heavy. Their buying power was so strong that it was just tough to compete with their prices. The mom and pops couldn't do it. And then convenience, certainly it's very convenient to go into Walmart and, grab a pair of shoes, grab your groceries, grab a shovel and a pitchfork, and grab some Christmas decorations. It's like all at the same spot and then head out. Now, technologically, Walmart didn't do too much different than mom and pop downtown store. They all had the similar cash registers and point of sale systems and all that stuff. So they hit two of the three, price and convenience, and they absolutely disrupted an entire industry. You could look at that same retail industry with somebody like Amazon, and through convenience and technology, price point, a lot of stuff that I buy would be cheaper to go get it at Walmart. But it's just, especially if you're in a city with same day delivery, grabbing, the ability to hop on, how convenient is it? And then technologically, how simple is it to check out? Especially if you already have an existing account. It's like you just throw it in the cart, click checkout, auto pay. I use my Amex points. I haven't used real money to buy something on Amazon in years. I mean, I know it's not free. I know I'm using my Amex to get those points, but it almost seems like anytime Amex comes, it's almost like Christmas, because I know it was kind of like free for me because our Amex points from all of our business expenses and even personal stuff we put on Amex whenever we can. So it's like we attach it to our Amazon account and then we use the points. And so very convenient, technologically very easy to connect our points up. And so that disrupted, even a company like Walmart has been disrupted by technology and convenience of a company like Amazon. If you think of something that checks off all three, the iPhone would have been one that checked off all three, the smartphone, like certainly disrupting the heck out of the phone service. Like cell phones in itself, I remember, getting in trouble for, I had a girlfriend, I was in high school and I met her on a band trip. I was in band freshman year, playing the drums, and she was in Nashville, Tennessee, and we met and we were dating a little bit, and I would call her. And if I was on the phone too long, I would get in big trouble because the long distance bill would be so high. And cell phones, it's like, I remember initially it was nights and weekends were free. And then now, like, there's no such thing as long distance. You have the ability to pretty much call almost anywhere in the world for free, apps like WhatsApp and whatnot like that. So from a disruption standpoint, price-wise, free is good. Like that's going to disrupt long-distance phone service and home phone service pretty aggressively. Convenience, having the phone on you at all times is very convenient. I don't know if you've ever been a kid, if you're around my age, where you weren't near a payphone and you needed somebody to come pick you up or whatever. It was a tough problem to have because you certainly weren't getting a hold of anybody. You'd have to literally go, oh man, I'm a mile and a half away from the nearest payphone, and you start jogging, because it's like, I got to call my mom. I'm 12 miles from home, so it's jog to the payphone and hopefully you got a quarter, So the convenience and price were lights out. And then technology, I mean, we're holding in my hand a much more powerful computer than NASA used to send people to the moon. The supercomputer that they used to land astronauts on the moon is not near as powerful as my cell phone right now. And so obviously something that hits all three, you can really slam an industry and disrupt the heck out of it. One of the main projects we're working on in the blockchain space is this project that you're on right now called R-Link. And when you look at something like R-Link going head to head with something like Zoom, our price point is much, much better for business people, for people who are doing presentations. I remember Zoom kept raising their prices. They continue to raise their prices, but I was paying over $300 a month for an enterprise account with Zoom. I was doing a lot of meetings. I had 3 different accounts, so we could do meetings at the same time. Me and a couple of our executives could use the same account and do meetings of up to like 1,000 people. This platform, price-wise, I save about $3,400 a year by using this platform versus Zoom. So price-wise, we were hammering them. And even on the lowest level platform, if you don't want, Zoom to shut off on you, you got to pay, it's $13.99 a month. We are $9.99 a month. And if you pay annually, it's a little over $8, $8.40 and change, So price-wise, we smoke them. Convenience, I look at this platform as more of a conversion platform than just a straight presentation platform. Because if I want to share a website with somebody, I can share screen and go to a website, or I can build in, we have tools called widgets where I can say, listen, I can take you to our widgets. And if you said, what about the pricing? I want to learn more about the pricing. I can actually set a page up to where you guys can scroll at your own pace and stay here in the meeting. I don't have to share screen. I don't have to take you outside of our meeting platform. Like right now, if you scroll, if you're on your phone, just use your finger and start scrolling. If you're on your computer, use your mouse and scroll down. Go check the annual price if you want to see, well, what's the monthly price? Monthly, it's $49.99 at the high level. If I pay annually, it's $41.65. If you scroll down near the bottom, it'll show you comparison. Our Link Ultimate Plan for $50 a month versus those Zoom webinar plans that are like, they start at $340 a month to do larger meetings and bigger presentations. And it shows you all the different bells and whistles that we have versus what they have. And so I can bring people into call to actions. I can bring people, like if somebody says, well, I want to buy your real estate property, I can create call to actions where they can sign up and buy property, or they can buy a timeshare. They can do whatever I'm selling. We can create a call to action button that pops up and they can purchase. I can go into slideshows. I don't have to, I can certainly share screen and load up a PowerPoint, or I can preload the slides and go, hey, check this out. Just click, next slide, next slide, next slide. And I'm taking you guys through our slideshow. If somebody says, well, do you have a video about this? And they want to see a video. Normally with Zoom, I would have to share screen, change the audio setting from microphone to computer, hit play. It's usually a YouTube video, wait 5 seconds, skip the ad, and then we're watching the video that I want to watch. Here, I can preload and go right into a video.
Do you ever wish you played a part?
I don't have to change audio settings. I can actually turn her down.
Got really big.
Turn this lady
like
down
Facebook,
and talk over
when it was a Harvard student directory. Amazon, when Jeff Bezos ran it.
I want to pause it. I pause it. If I say, hey, you know what? We're done with the video. I just finish the video. Like it's so easy and seamless. I don't have to worry about, I can't tell you how many times I would share a video on Zoom and I'd share it, I'd hit play, and then my phone would start blowing up with text messages. We can't hear, no one can hear the video. And I'm like, I can hear it because it's on my computer, but if it's through my microphone, nobody can hear anything. And I'm like, change audio setting. And then I can't tell you how many times I stop the video and I'm like, hey, so I hope you guys like the video. And people are like, we can't hear you, and I'm like, I got to change the audio setting back to microphone. Like, this is just way more convenient. Like, it's not even close. So price-wise, I'm hammering them. Convenience-wise, I'm hammering them. And then when it comes to technology, this is based in blockchain technology. And for those of you that are brand new to blockchain, I'm not going to get into blockchain tonight. I'll kind of open it up for some more Q&A and just kind of share my thoughts and kind of where things are at. I certainly, if somebody has a question and really wants to delve into blockchain, I'm happy to do that. But at the end of the day, to simplify what blockchain technology does, if you look at the internet as a way to share information real time all around the world, which this is a good example of using the internet to share information real time around the world. I would say it closed the distance gap. The world is a much smaller place because the internet exists. If the internet allows us to share information and makes the world smaller, it shrinks the distance gap. Blockchain allows us to share value around the world real time. And it would close what I would call the trust gap. And not to get too in depth into that, but a lot of people think about sharing value or sending value as money, fiat. I did a deal the other day. So one of my newer business partners in this project, he lives in Atlanta and Curacao. He's kind of retired into Curacao, and he loves this platform. And he calls it the Zoom killer. He's like, price is better. It's way better to present on and convert sales on and share information with. And technologically, it uses blockchain. And I'll explain why he really loves that. But he was buying nodes, and I'll explain that too real quick. But he wanted to help us run our blockchain, which is there's software nodes you can purchase to do that. And it's almost like basically our company will borrow your computer power and pay you in magic internet money to lend us your computer power. And so he wanted to buy some nodes, and it was like he bought an NFT as well. He was like, I want to buy a few things. It was like over $6,000. And he goes, I'll just send you, an ACH, a wire, whatever. And I had crypto. I was like, I can actually help you make the purchase. We're good friends. He's been a mentor of mine, actually. So I was like, I'll just send you the $6,000 and then you can send it to me. And he goes, do you have Bank of America? I said, I actually, our companies do, but I think my wife, one of her personal accounts, I think is Bank of America. And it was. And so he goes, all right, I'll just send you the $6,000. And I was like, okay. I said, I'll just send you $6,000 worth of crypto. So I showed him, he'd never done a crypto transaction. So I said, okay, go here. I showed him where his wallet was. It's free to sign up in our ecosystem. And he had his free wallet. And I go, okay, do you see where it says receive? Copy and paste that address and just put it in the chat. And he did. And then I shared my screen and I sent him 6,000 USDT, US dollars worth of cryptocurrency. And within it was under 15 seconds, it was complete. The transaction was done. And he was like, that's amazing. And the cost, I think at that time, it was like, I'm trying to think. I think it was like 11 cents. I sent him $6,000.11 to make sure he got 6,000. It might have been a little less. It might have been 7 cents. I can actually go back and look at the transaction. I'll find out. But it was certainly cheap. And he goes, well, I can do Bank of America to Bank of America. And which you'd think that might be 15 seconds or whatever. And what's funny is he did it. I sent the information and then I said, well, let me refresh her account, and we did, and nothing happened. We kept talking. About an hour and a half later, we had gotten off, but I kept refreshing. It showed up. And I actually got back. We got back on. I said, hey, it showed up. I said, hop on. And so I showed him. I said, isn't this crazy? It's a Bank of America to Bank of America transaction. It showed up, but it said, basically, it said amount subject to change, could take up to 5 days to settle. And I was like, dude, mine settled in 15 seconds. And this thing is a Bank of America to Bank of America, and it might take up to 5 days to complete. Now, I've done wires that have taken 4 to 5 days to complete, international wires, but even wiring domestically, even if it hits same day, it's usually not available until the next day for my friend to use it. And a lot of times it's, $40, international $60 to do the wire fee versus I've sent over $1 million in Bitcoin to somebody internationally and paid $1.27 in fees. So the ability to share value real time, it's a way better way using blockchain than a piece of paper. or a bank. I'm just telling you, like the technology is there and it creates trust because everyone in the node network has access to all the information. So if you're sitting here going, okay, I like this platform, looks great, very crisp video, probably more crisp than Zoom. It's cheaper, it costs less, it's easier to present, it's more convenient. And what's cool about blockchain, it's owned by the user base. There is no corporation, there is no company that owns it. We talk about this transition from Web 2 to Web 3.0. If you're new to the space or whatever, and maybe you've never heard that, here's the simple, explanation of what's happening right now. I remember Web 1 going into Web 2. Web 1, if you think of Web 1.0 as like the internet when the military was using it, Microsoft, IBM, there was only a few companies and a few tech people that used the internet for years. The internet really, IP and TCP, those protocols, the internet protocol code was early 80s, 81. And it wasn't until really the mid 90s that you started to see Web 2 come into play. And I remember sending my first email. I was in college and emailing my mom and thinking, man, this is really convenient because she could email me right back versus mailing a letter or having to wait, to call her. I had a cell phone for emergencies, but I couldn't use it until like after 9 p.m. or whatever, like nights and weekends, or I'd get in trouble. So being able to email her questions or whatever, or, hey, I'm looking to come home this weekend, are you guys going to be around? Is there a home football game? Whatever, I could email and then I'd be in the study hall room, whatever, and it would come back and I'd get an answer. I remember paying my first credit card bill online and I was reluctant to do it. People were doing it for probably a year before I ever even tried it. And then when I did it the very first time, I remember thinking to myself, I'm never mailing another check again. Like, I was like, this is amazing. Like, I don't have to worry about the check getting lost in the mail. I hit send and boom, it's like, we received your payment. I was like, this is way, way better than mailing a check. I don't need to buy stamps. I don't have to go to the post office. I mean, it was just, Web 2 was way better. Now, obviously, we're living in this Web 2 environment for the most part. When Facebook launched and the iPhone in 2007, it was off and running from there, and the Android. Now, what we're starting to see is this shift into Web 3.0. And why that's happening is if you look at Web 2.0, it's really centralized control. And what I mean by that is it's really run by corporations. I think as humans, we've unfortunately probably conceded to the fact that Mark Zuckerberg has been listening to me this whole time. And I know, Jeff Bezos, Google, whoever it is, Zoom got caught like 8 months ago sharing everyone's data with their AI. And it kind of blew up in their face and we won't do that. But it's like, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, if you shared my data with AI, I don't think AI forgets anything ever. I think it's got my data, like it's there. And the problem really is people that were upset, there was no alternative for them. Like if you're upset, but you use video conferencing and you're upset with Zoom for doing that, what are you going to do? You go to Google, you go to Microsoft Teams, whatever. It's like Google Meet. Google and Microsoft are better at mining data than Zoom could ever dream of being. And so how do you find that solution? And what Web 3.0 is doing is it's creating a decentralized control versus a corporate centralized control. And what I mean by that is this platform that we're on right now, there is no owner. There is no corporation that runs this platform. All of us that are users are the owners. All of us that are node owners that are helping to run the network and the blockchain are the owners. All the coin holders are the owners. We have voting rights. We can vote, which the community did vote, to control all of our own data. So the community said, hey, if you're a paid user, your data is your data. And eventually they're going to be able to basically vote to turn on the ability for you, if you choose to monetize your data. Imagine sharing your data because, hey, I want insurance companies to advertise to me. I'm looking at new health insurance. So I want to share some data and I want them to advertise to me for the next 48 hours. But I want to earn at least $10 per advertiser. Imagine being able to choose to monetize your data, because right now, that is not how it works. Mark Zuckerberg is making billions of dollars off of our data, off of our content, off of our networks. Jeff Bezos, Sergey Brin at Google, Uber, all these big, huge corporations are monetizing our information. And what Web3 is doing is saying, listen, you don't have to keep doing it that way. And I just felt like if all humans were given a choice to either A, have Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos continue to spy on them and make billions of dollars, or B, no one spies on them and they can choose to make a few bucks if they want to share their data, I felt like every human on the planet, if given that choice, we would all choose to control our data and all choose to have the potential option to monetize our data. I don't mind targeted advertising. I like to get ads for pickleball stuff and watches and things that I'm excited about. That's better than getting high heels and dresses for me. Like I'm not interested in that stuff. And so for me, I don't mind that. What I mind is Bezos and these guys and Zuckerberg making billions of dollars without my permission. I guess, their privacy policy, the 8 million pages that you have to read through, it's in there saying that they can do that. But it's like, man, I don't want to have to deal with that stuff. I don't want to have to go through and worry about, oh man, like I never searched for, flights to London, but all of a sudden, I was talking about flying to London and all these flights are coming up on my Facebook feed, on my Google, ads and all this stuff. It's like, I think all of us, if given the choice, we would choose to control our data. And that's the technological side of blockchain. We're cheaper. We're better priced than Zoom. We're much better and more convenient when converting and presenting. And technologically, you own your data and you can control your data and monetize your data. And the other thing technologically, because we're on blockchain, you actually earn rewards, digital rewards, cryptocurrency, just for using the platform. And you can earn more digital rewards for sharing the platform with others. Zoom is never going to pay you or share ownership with you. Neither is Google, neither is Microsoft. And so it's the first time in my life as an entrepreneur where I'm positioning myself as a disruptor. And not only that, I'm favored to win. Like in 2016, when I started our delivery business, I could have said, oh, I'm going to disrupt. I could have tried to disrupt Uber and DoorDash, but price-wise, we were about the same. Service-wise, we were pretty similar. You ordered food, we grabbed it and brought it to you. Technologically, we're about the same. You went onto our app and went to the menu and you bought what you wanted and we brought it to you. Like there was no areas we weren't disrupting on price. It was the same convenience. It was pretty much the same technologies. Like you're using an app to buy food. It's got a menu on it. Like we were in no position to disrupt them. And in fact, we were in no position to compete with them. I remember when they started to come into smaller cities, it was funny because one of our friends, we became friends with one of the Google ads and the Facebook ad people. And they told us in Salina, Kansas, when Uber and DoorDash came in, I'm trying to think, it was Uber first. And they told us their ad spend reach daily was like 147,000 people. Why that was concerning for us as people that wanted to compete and maintain market share there, because we were already there. They were reaching 147,000 people a day in Salina, Kansas. Salina, Kansas population, metro, is 47,000. I don't know how you compete with somebody that markets to everybody 2-3 times over. But it's not going to be very easy, and it's not going to be good probably. This is my first time as an entrepreneur where we're beating them on price, we're beating them on convenience, and we're beating them on technology. And we're beating them on all three pretty handily. I don't know how we don't smash these guys. There's no loyalty in this industry at all, except for us. Imagine like you start getting rewarded for using this platform. Wouldn't you use this one over Zoom? Imagine you own your data and can make money monetizing it. Wouldn't you use this platform over Zoom? That's what I started doing. And it's funny, I realized real quick that nobody cares. Nobody's loyal. Like I'd have people send me meetings like, hey, here's my Zoom link. Here's my Google Meet. Here's our Microsoft Teams, lawyers, whatever. And I would say, hey, I have a decentralized platform where we control our own data. Each user owns their own data versus some of the other ones where your data is just kind of out there. Let's use this platform instead. 100 out of 100 times, pretty much, they're like, sure. Like they don't care. Whatever link you send me, I'll click on. Like, sounds good to me. You know, it's better than Zoom, it's better than Teams, better. But what's cool is not only did they not care, they just click. They're like, yeah, I'll get on your link. No problem. They almost always update the meeting calendar, and they change their Zoom link into mine, or their Google Meet into mine, or their Teams into mine. And now we're on our link. And almost every single one of them, when they get on, they're like, this platform's great. And I start showing them some of the widgets and the ability to share video and stuff. And they're like, I got to use this, you know, and it's way better pricing. It's like, yeah. So it's literally their Blockbuster and we're Netflix. Like we're positioned to absolutely bludgeon these guys. And what's amazing, I think, for us as entrepreneurs is we can participate in that bludgeoning. We can participate in that disruption, so to speak. You can help us. And there's really 3 things people can do to help us disrupt where they can actually have upside and get rewarded to do 1, 2, or all 3 of those 3 things. Jen's talking about she's grateful to be a node owner. That's one thing you can do. And it's funny, when I first saw this space, the blockchain space, I had been in crypto for a while. My degree's in finance and economics, and I liked the concept of Bitcoin. I read the white paper. It was actually a summary of the white paper on a CNET blog. I got an email. I don't even know. I'm not even that techie, but CNET somehow probably got my email or something. And it just had a summary of Bitcoin back in 2010. And I read it and I thought, what a cool concept. But I'm not that tech savvy, so I didn't do anything about it. Then in 2013, a buddy of mine was doing online gambling. And you weren't, like, the banks weren't allowed to really do that. You couldn't really use your American banks to do that. So I was like, how are you gambling and getting your money if you win? And he goes, I use Bitcoin. And I was like, dude, like a few years ago, I read about Bitcoin. I was like, you're using it? And he's like, yeah. And I go, how do you get it? And he kind of showed me, and I was like, oh, there's an exchange. And all right. I went on and I started buying my first Bitcoin, $250 a coin. I started buying it. And that was 2013. And then I've never stopped. I've been buying it ever since. My last big purchase was at 69,000 a coin. And I'll buy it today if somebody wants to sell Bitcoin. I only buy it from friends pretty much, but they know to call me if they're wanting to sell Bitcoin, and I'll buy it from them. And so I felt like that's, a better way of storing value than a piece of paper. But the technology behind it, I didn't really care about. I started doing trading software, cryptocurrency trading software in 2017, did really well. We made millions of dollars doing that. Some of my buddies were like, yeah, Tony, crypto's great, but the blockchain technology is what's really important. And I remember telling them, I was like, dude, I don't care why we're making millions of dollars trading cryptocurrency. I care that we're making millions of dollars trading cryptocurrency. Like, I don't know how my car works. I just hit the start button and start going. It gets me from A to B. We can handle that. And then about 2018, a buddy of mine said, hey, you need to buy nodes for this project. It was called Gala Games. And I said, well, what's a node? Because I was not that tech savvy. I bought cryptocurrency, but I never mined it. I never did anything. And he goes, a node is where you basically buy software, put it on your computer, and this company will pay you for borrowing your computer power. And I remember I said, well, how much do they pay you? And he goes, well, they give you Gala tokens. I said, well, how much is a Gala token worth? And he goes, well, right now, nothing. And I just said, well, that sounds amazing. You know, you're gonna basically use my computer power and then pay me with magic internet money that's not worth anything. I said, it sounds amazing for them, not so amazing for me. And he goes, well, Tony, it's not worth anything now, but if people start playing these games online and using this token, it could become pretty valuable. And I knew the guy, I had friends with him. I knew the other guy that helped start the project. I was friends with him. So I told him, I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to give you guys 10 grand and I'll buy some nodes and let's see what happens. And for about two years, nothing happened. They just were building their games. It took a long time to develop games. I didn't know that. And maybe they didn't know that it was going to take that long. And people started complaining. They're like, nothing's happening. They were upset. And so my buddy that sold everybody their nodes refunded everybody. He just goes, hey, I don't want people thinking I took advantage of them. Just refund everybody. I told him, I messaged him. I'm like, hey, I don't want a refund. Like, I don't need the money. Let's let it ride, see what happens with this project. And he goes, Tony, it's easier to just refund everybody all at once because the way that we took in the money, we're just going to push it all back out. But he goes, just call me in a couple of weeks. We'll redo the transaction if you really want the nodes. I said, okay, I will. At that time, I was exiting our delivery service. We'd exited a third of it to a company called Eat Street. We had merged the other 2/3 with a company called delivery.com. And this was 2020. That was the year we were in the Inc. 500. And I just didn't want that deal to fall through. And so we wanted to make sure everything went well. And I forgot to call him back. Just slipped my mind. And so about another year goes by, never even thought about it. 2021 hits and I see him like on his Facebook page. He's like #crypto, #Gala, #nodes. And it dawned on me. I was like, I never called him back, So I called him and I was like, bro, what's going on with Gala? And he goes, Tony, there's millions of people playing these games. I was like, really? And he goes, yeah. He goes, my nodes have been generating tokens every day for the last couple of years. I was like, really? I said, how much? Like, how many tokens? He goes, well, I started selling them. It's been, almost a couple months. And I go, how much have you sold? And he goes, a little over $40 million worth. And I was like, get out. I was like, no way. And he showed me like his trading accounts, Binance. And I was like, and then I remember our buddy that helped start the project, Wright. And I go, how much is Wright worth right now? And he goes, on tokens, like he's like about $4.3 billion. And I was like, and then I asked the question you should never ask if you miss an opportunity like that. I go, if I would have called you back, how many tokens would I have? He starts doing the math. He goes, you'd have had 20 nodes generating this many per day over this many months. And he goes, if you sold all of the tokens today, you'd have a little over $11 million worth. And I remember I went onto this website. It's called CoinMarketCap because I was like, I wonder how long it would take me to sell $11 million worth of these coins, That day's trading volume, $4.5 billion in volume. I could have sold $11 million worth of tokens in under 10 minutes, probably. What's even crazier, not to get too far off subject there, but if I would have bought those nodes and sold all the tokens, the nodes would still be generating tokens. And today, as we're talking, it would generate about $40,000 to $50,000 worth of tokens every month if I had those nodes today. And I started thinking, like, what was I that busy doing that I couldn't call my buddy back for 15 minutes and redo the transaction? But it is what it is. I chalked it up as missed opportunities. Wasn't the first, wouldn't be the last. And then when they called me, actually in 2023, October, they said, hey, we want you to take a look at some of the blockchain projects. We want you to help us with some of the blockchain projects we're working on. I was like, where do I need to be? You know, I was really busy at that time. I'd started an accounting firm called Jorns and Associates. You can Google that, JORNS, jornstax.com. We did over $10 billion in tax credit filings our first 24 months in business, over $2 billion in receivables. Just created a multi-billion-dollar accounting firm basically over 24 months. Kind of crazy, but it kept us busy, very busy. And even though I was that busy, because I watched what they did, that Gala project at its peak had a $40 billion market cap. It had days where its market cap was higher than Tesla's in 2021. Still today, it's one of the top 100 cryptocurrencies in the world. And so when I saw what they did, when they called me, I was like, where do I need to go? And I ended up buying some nodes that day. And then I then I started doing my due diligence. I actually bought $3 million worth of nodes that day. Then in December of 23, I bought another $50 million. So total in 23, I bought $53 million worth of nodes. And I don't recommend people do that. I will qualify why I did that here real quick. Number one, I was helping to bring projects like this to their blockchain and generate and create layer one blockchains around this type of project. So we did that, which it's very expensive to develop a layer one blockchain. A layer one blockchain is like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. You know, Ethereum and Solana have raised $600 million and $400 million through their foundations, respectively. So it is pricey to develop this kind of technology. So I helped to fund that. Number two, the node software that the community sells and that I bought, and that you could buy if you wanted to buy a node, it's classified as off-the-shelf software. And I always tell people, get with your own tax attorneys, your own CPAs, but it's a depreciating asset. So in 2023, I took what's called Section 179 and bonus depreciation and was able to depreciate. I couldn't do all 53 million, but it was like 47, or I'll have to look, 47 or 49 million I was able to depreciate and write it off, basically. Saved me about $20 million in taxes in 2023. And so I was going to buy depreciating assets anyways. I just preferred to buy the node software because the upside was, for me, so much higher. Certainly high risk compared to some of the other buildings or other assets I could buy. But I just felt like in this type of industry, I could help what I call move the needle. I could add users to this platform and make the node network more valuable. The bigger the community got, the better. And so if somebody said, well, I want to help you guys, like this looks great. One, you could become a node owner. Help us run the blockchain, run a node, and you just earn tokens. That's what my buddy Tomas did, and that made a little over $40 million. He didn't do anything else. He didn't help build the community, didn't buy tokens, didn't really do anything other than he just was a node owner and made $40 million being a node owner. I have another buddy that didn't have near as much money as Tomas, so he couldn't buy that many nodes. So he did what's called the community build. That's the second thing people can really do to help us grow the community. And so he started using the games and helping other people start using the games, built a team of people playing games. And he ended up earning, it ended up being like $50 million because he got rewarded for building the community. There's an algorithm, basically, the network says, hey, if you help us build a community, we'll give you a bunch of tokens. And the more you help us, the more tokens you get. And so I saw one of my friends just own nodes and do really well. I saw another friend build the community and do really well. So when I saw what was going on, I was like, I'm going to do both. I'm going to run nodes and I'm going to build the community. And let's see what happens. And then the third thing people can do is they can buy tokens. You can do it in the market. You can go to Uniswap. You can just buy them. There's people that want to sell their tokens. There's people who want to buy tokens. There's not a lot of people that want to sell tokens, so there's not a lot of liquidity. But I think the community is going to seed the market. They're going to vote to throw some coins in the market so people can buy them. Because there's only maybe 20, 30, 40,000 a day in liquidity that's being purchased because not many people are wanting to part with their tokens. And that's fine. Like, people can sell whenever they want to sell. They can hold as long as they want to hold. So we're looking for people to really help us grow our community. If you want to buy tokens or be a node owner, that's fine. But the main thing we're looking at is, if you're using Zoom, stop. Why let them charge you more, take your data and monetize it, and not give you anything in return? When you can pay less, have a better platform, own your data, monetize your data, and get rewarded just for using and sharing the platform. We're Netflix, they're Blockbuster. The question becomes, are you going to side with Netflix? Or are you going to keep using Blockbuster? And for those of you that want to make that decision to side with Netflix, hey, I want to welcome you to the Rally blockchain family and the R-Link family. So that's really what we're looking for, guys. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you sharing your evening to learn more about our projects, what we're doing. I know there's a lot of things you could be doing tonight other than watching some pasty bald guy in Puerto Rico talk about blockchain and video conferencing. But you've chosen to take some time out of your evening to do that, or some of you your day, I guess, in Arizona. It's still light over there. But I appreciate it. I take it very seriously. I've spent the last 2 years or so, almost a year and a half, really focused on helping entrepreneurs go from a Web 2 environment into a Web 3 environment, and how to take advantage of blockchain. The World Economic Forum in 2021 estimated that blockchain would disrupt up to $867 trillion in traditional markets. That's not a once in a lifetime opportunity. That's a once opportunity. Our ancestors never had a shift in wealth. Web 1 to Web 2 was not that big of a shift, and not near that fast. I don't think our grandkids, great grandkids, double greats, triple greats will even see anything near this type of shift. It'll probably be cross-planetary. If the economy starts to move in from Earth to Mars, you might see that kind of shift, but that's probably going to be quite a few great grandkids away from us. And so I'm telling people, like, listen, hopefully I've been eloquent enough to get that vision across, that you're at the internet in the mid 90s. Like, if you could go back in time, if all of us could go back in time, and it was the mid 90s, I think all of us, I'd be like, listen, if I was in Puerto Rico or in Arizona with the Cepedas, I'd be like, Herb, Patty, pack your stuff. We're going to Silicon Valley. Like, that's where we're going. It's the mid 90s. We're going to go find Google. We're going to go find where Bezos is at. We're going to find Zuckerberg as he's running around Harvard campus. Like, we know exactly where to be. And we'd be like, oh, you guys need money? We got money. We'll help you start your company. Like, literally one after the other, we'd be winning left and right and left and right. The upside was massive. Blockchain technology is growing faster and being adopted faster than the internet was in the mid 90s. The question becomes, are you going to position yourself to take advantage of it or not? And I just felt like, why not me? If somebody was going to do it, why not us? Why not now? So I'd tell you to connect with whoever invited you onto the video conference tonight. Get with them. They'll send you a link. You can sign up for free. Get into our ecosystem for free. Go through our academy. What is Bitcoin? What is Ethereum? What's a smart contract? You can go through the academy and learn all that stuff. If you're brand new into blockchain and crypto and don't know much, they will teach you from A to Z everything you need to know. But if you've seen enough already and you go, listen, I want to buy one of those nodes and I want to cancel my Zoom account right now, let them know that. They'll help you do that as well. So I do want to be one of the first to welcome you to the blockchain family. Herb, Patty, thanks so much for having me. I'll turn it back over to you guys.
Tony, thank you so much. You're absolutely amazing. And I love how you go through everything and just how concise you are, and just where we're heading with this is so exciting for, not only you, we sense your excitement. We're excited. Of course, get back, like Tony said, with whomever invited you tonight, because
you probably do have questions. This is your first time. You're going to have questions. You're going to have to really get your mind wrapped around how blockchain is different. What does decentralized community mean? What is it that we're doing? And then participate at whatever level that you're comfortable with. But Tony, we want to thank you on behalf of Herb and myself for being here again tonight, for all of these people who are excited about this platform and want to see it take over Zoom, like you had said, because this has the potential to, because it's better, it's easier to use, it's less expensive, and everybody likes rewards. I mean, we fly on a specific American Airlines because the hub is in Charlotte, and you know, it's easy for us to get anywhere. Not that we love that airline, but we're upgraded, we get free flights. We go to makeup stores, ladies, and you get rewarded for that. You get rewarded for just about everything that we do today. This is no different, and there's no other platform. Zoom's not going to give you anything. There's no other platform. GoToMeeting's not going to reward you for getting on and using their platform, but our link is. So we have something very different, and of course, it's much bigger than we're probably conveying you tonight. So definitely get back with whomever invited you tonight.
Yeah, there's Tony, you said a word repetitively, and I just want to leave everybody with this. That word disruption, it's a big, big deal. Our country is being led as we speak by disruptors.
Yeah.
It's easy to see it. And so disruption is not a bad thing. But if you're new and if you're just hearing about this for the first time, we get it. A lot of very educated people don't understand the dynamics of blockchain technology. They can't understand how the utility, like you're looking at right now, is backed by people instead of a company. It's hard to grasp. We get that. But the reality is that that technology is here. And so really you're learning about a technology with a community that has a product, and it's decentralized. It's not owned by a company. That is music to a lot of people's ears. It really is, because they get to participate in the growth of something that can overtake mammoth companies. And that's what we're looking at right now. So again, for Patty, Tony, everybody, God bless. I'm going to mute everybody's line so you can say thank you to Tony. Just give me 1 second. Well, I won't unmute lines, but you can unmute your own line. Go ahead. At the top of the screen, if you're on your computer,
thank you, Tony.
There you go.
Thank you, Tony.
There you go.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you,
Thank you,
guys.
Tony. You're the best. We sure appreciate you.
We love you,
Bless
Tony. We love you. Big hug.
love
Thank
you.
you.
Awesomeness.
A lot of
All
fun.
right.
A lot of fun. So
Looking forward
there
to
you go,
seeing you in
everybody.
5 weeks in Puerto Rico.
There you go.
Sounds good. I'll be here.
Let's go.
There you
Yeah,
go.
good luck,
guys.
Puerto Rico.
Good night, friends.
All
Have a
right. Good
wonderful
All right,
night,
night.
everybody.
Thanks
Good
again,
night.
Patty.
Have a
Good
good
night.
evening.
Good night,
Bye.
everyone.